Hey everybody, welcome back to Reboot Leggers.
I like it.
It's Halloween, and that means we're gonna actually get spooky today when we reboot our topic of rebooting. I'm Scott Owen.
I'm Frank Serra.
That's what we do here. We reboot things that, frankly, the government doesn't want us to reboot.
You could say that we bring things back from the dead.
Oh, that's a much better way to describe it than what I was doing. A much more theme appropriate. Ooh, that's
we take that which was buried and we
resurrect
dig it back
it
up for you.
We resurrect it. We rob Hollywood's graves for you, and for the movie graves, not the people graves.
Ah, yes.
I have a strict no people grave policy, and that applies to everyone at the company. But we here at the NBCW do understand the value of reading but also
writing and arithmetic.
Yeah, but the 3 R's.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. Kids don't got time to read anymore.
Nobody. Who has time to read? What are books?
What are books? Now
you can't binge books on Netflix, so that's what all the kids want these days.
Bingeable books. And you know what the original bingeable books were?
I think you're about to tell us.
Talking about those Goosebumps.
Oh, you know. Because here's the thing with Goosebumps. When I was reading those bad boys, had to read them during the daytime. Couldn't read them at night. It was too much.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Scott, but I was not. Yeah. I did not have a strong heart as a child.
Yeah, the outgoing pile? Okay, thanks. Sorry, just sorting the mail. Yeah, no. Goosebumps, you do not read at night. And if you do read at night, you read under the covers.
Mm-hmm. And if you did read at night and not under the covers, you are so much more hardcore than me.
Here's the problem with under the covers. The kids can all do it in the movies, right?
Oh my god, but you can't breathe.
You get so hot under the covers. It gets so hot. I can last like maybe a minute and a half before it gets so hot.
Yeah, and then it just gets so you can't.
It is stuffy and oppressing.
So strictly daytime, but so in keeping with the spirit of these horror book shots that Mr. Stein produced, we're gonna present more of an anthology episode today.
I think it's Dr. Stein.
Oh, because he was like the
scare doctor.
Horror was the medicine.
Spook doctor, yeah. Spook Dr. Stein, they called him. And then he was like, I should write kids' books. Maybe I could actually make some money, because nobody paid him for the spooky doctoring that he did. He would just show up at people's houses and be like, screams are the best medicine. And they'd be like, oh.
I know.
But yeah, we're going to go through with our patented Speedboot formula, which has never failed us before.
Not once.
We are riding high after that Poirot pitch. The higher-ups loved it. They were a little shocked to find a submission from us. I don't think they anticipated that.
The good thing about working in the mailroom is that you can just jam stuff in wherever you want it to go.
You just put it in the pneumatic tubes and up it goes.
Yeah.
Are those pneumatic? I don't think pneumatic's the right word.
I think pneumatic's the word, right?
Man, those tubes are the coolest thing. I remember going to the bank with my mom and they'd use the tubes. So yeah, we're just going to be focusing on original series Goosebumps, 1992 to 1997. Only 5 years, 62 books. The man was
62 books in 5 years. The dude just sat down at his old-timey typewriter and cranked.
He just cranked on it. Really cranked on it.
Just really gave it the business.
So, are we going to try to go through all 62, or are we just going to take our favorites?
I think we can't, because we would have to spend... We would have to spend like 25 seconds per book, and that's not going to happen, right?
Yeah. So here's I want to set up the ground rules. Not really rules, but so are we going to go through the list and each of us alternate like one that we like, an idea we have, or are we going to pitch each other, give me your Speedboot of this book?
I think we just see what happens, right? So I think that we popcorn titles and then just see what we can come up with. But like the other person can chime in.
All right. Well, should we start like with let's start with number 1. Let's just dive right in. Dive right in. Book number 1, Welcome to Dead House. What do you got for me, Frank? Welcome to Dead House.
All right. It's a dead house. Okay, so Timmy's at home, and he's playing ball in the street. Kids do that still, right? Like, life hasn't changed that much, right? And they throw it into Old Man Drunken's yard.
Old Man Drunken. Gotta be careful.
Old Man Drunken, his yard, the balls go there and they don't come back. A little bit of a Sandlot vibe, but not a ton. So they go and they knock on Mr. Drunken's door. And it's that, like, classic, the door is unlocked, right? And it's like, and then they because there's no gate, they need to walk through the house to get to the backyard.
Yeah, and then the house just, like, collapses because it's dead.
Well, no, because then that would just kill them at the end of the story.
Or maybe they don't go in.
This is a little bit better. Mr. Drunkens does answer the door.
Uh-huh.
And he smells terrible.
Uh-huh. You are almost a little bit describing the movie Monster House. Have you seen this?
No.
It's about a living house that is haunted by a ghost that tries to eat children. And it...
Okay, I was going a different way with it. Mr. Drunkens is a zombie.
Oh.
It's a house of the dead, but not House of the Dead.
Okay, what about the house was dead, though?
The house was
dead. The house
dead.
is a zombie.
It's the entire house is a ghost house.
Here's your original... Let me throw you what I was thinking, which is actually a little bit close. It's pretty close to yours. There are zombies living in the house, but it is a fraternity, Delta Epsilon Delta, the Dead House.
Okay.
You guys rushing
and
Dead House?
And then there's a dean.
Yeah, and the dean's always like, Dead House!
Yeah, the dean, what does he want? Hold on. The dean needs them, like, something. There's, like, someone, like, the dean says, like, you don't come to the campus events. We need you to show up for, like, the noonday holy water parade. Mm-hmm. And they're like, how do we pull this off? Because no one else knows they're zombies.
Mm-hmm. The dean doesn't even know they're zombies.
The dean, like, no one else knows.
And shenanigans ensue.
Shenanigans occur.
They're always, like, trying to, have the...
And then we have one of those, like, end of
parties.
the movie, like, Animal House, whatever things, where it's like, Stumpy Joe went on to become a licensed chiropractor.
Yeah, he's very good with bones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's solid. All right. I do want to go right to number 2, just because this is an incredibly not spooky title at all, and I'm curious what we could do with it. It's called Stay Out of the Basement.
All right, so,
do you think it's just like,
like, there's just, like, there's a real reason, like,
yeah, hey,
stay out of the basement, there's a lot of carbon monoxide buildup from our bad
that's
heater.
literally exactly what I was going to say. Hey, this house isn't up to code, don't go in the basement, like,
don't go in the basement.
Hey, the basement is sinking.
That's a cool, so, like, kids go down, so carbon monoxide, one of the things it does is, like, you get, like, loopy and, like, hallucinations and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So the kids think there's, like, awful monsters down there, but it's because the carbon monoxide is slowly poisoning.
Oh, that's really good. Or could this... So that's a really good pitch. There's also... maybe it's just Welcome to Dead House 2, Stay Out of the Basement.
Stay out of the basement. Because the basement is where they keep all the fresh bones to put in when their old bones fall out.
Oh, yeah. And they work the graveyard shift at the graveyard?
Yes.
Okay.
And unlike us, they do dig up people graves.
Yeah, no, we would never do that here at the NBCW.
Only for the... They just need the bones.
They just need the bones.
All right. I'm going to scroll a little bit. Let's see. Shocker on Shock Street. What's that?
Shocker on Shock Street. Okay. This takes place inside of a computer, Tron style, and they live on Shock Street because that's where...
Or is Shock Street the name of the game they're in?
Oh, yeah. They're inside a video game called Shock Street, and...
it's like Second Life, but with lightning.
Exactly. And if you die in the video game, you die in real life.
Yeah, there's like electrodes connected to your brain that you need to use to play.
Yeah, or maybe it's just like the point of the game is to just... It's not a video game. It's just a blog, and all it does is deliver shocking news.
Okay.
Welcome to Shock Street.
So the shocker is a particular piece of news.
Mm-hmm. Shockers on Shock Street is a specific column by
H.G. Creepy?
Thomas Tesla, Nikola Edison, some sort of electricity name. Do you get
sort of electricity
do you get what
name?
I did
a
there?
Guy whose name is wait. A guy whose name is Derek Carlson or DC.
Oh, or...
But his friend's name is AC Slater.
Yeah, I was about to say AC Slater.
And so they're AC DC.
I think AC's...
They're DC AC because then we don't have to pay any money to AC/DC.
Well, I don't think AC/DC has a trademark on the phrase AC/DC. Maybe they do.
I don't really know.
I think we have to call them AC and DC. We can call them AC/DC.
AC and DC.
AC and DC. And yeah, they just run a blog, and I guess they're also... You know what? No, they don't run a blog.
No, they're brothers.
They're brothers who have...
It's Arnold and Derek Carlson. AC and DC.
A and DC, that's good. And they don't run a blog. They run a college news program at the university that Deadhouse is part of.
Okay, yeah, we're actually gonna build this out a little bit.
Yeah, it turns out everything connects to
just a little
Deadhouse.
movie verse. We're not gonna get weird.
Yeah. And so all they do is...
the shocking news is that Deadhouse is zombies.
They've provided shocking news to the campus, and then the shocking news they start... And sometimes the shocking news kills people. Sometimes sometimes
the news articles come to life.
Well, it's a radio, so everybody listens to their college radio, and sometimes the shocking news does a murder. Or like an accidental death.
Like when they say the news, someone hearing it dies?
Somebody gets so shocked, like it shocks them so hard that they die, and they're like, you guys got to stop shocking people.
Oh, and they think it's a serial killer.
Yeah.
Like they think it's a serial killer that's going around, but then they find out it's their own shocking news killing people.
Yeah. It's very scary because it's like, ooh, Donald Trump.
Then they have to turn off their news broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the very last scene is one of the brothers goes to the other brother, and he goes, "Do I have some news for you?" Cut to black.
Yeah.
Like one of them's going to die.
So here's a question for you. Are we going in like relative chronological?
I'm just scrolling around for good looking titles.
Okay, so we can go back and forth if we want to.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's check out this one. How I Got My Shrunken Head. How did you get your shrunken head, Frank?
All right, so we have two ways to go with it. One, shrunken head on a keychain, like a fetish object.
Mm-hmm.
I
do not think it is a fetish object. I believe it is like a voodoo thing.
You're aware that an object used in voodoo is called a fetish, like for magical
I did
rituals,
not know that.
So option 2, actual baby head on a human body.
Yeah, that's more what I was going for. Like a regular dude has a very tiny head.
So, boy.
How did you get your shrunken head, Mark?
I want tons of red herrings, right?
Mm-hmm. Like he goes
where
up
it's like, is this how? No. Is that how? No. Is this how? No. And then at the very, very end, he gets the shrunken head.
Yeah, he goes to like the World's Fair and there's like a shrink ray being shown and you're like, oh, well, clearly this has to be it. But then that
just goes right past him.
That actually just makes his head huge because it's malfunctioning.
Yeah. And then he goes to a witch doctor to get
it fixed.
Giant head fixed.
To get it fixed. And you're like, oh, this has to be it.
The witch doctor's going to overdo it, but then he just puts it back to normal.
Right, it's just regular and fine.
Yeah. And then there's like the guy's little sister, to prank him, puts shrinking powder in his shampoo.
Yeah, but
that she bought from a comic book.
Yeah.
And then he does the shampoo, but it's really just itching powder.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do anything to his head size.
It just makes his hair shrink. And so he's got very small hair on.
And it just keeps... Well, no. Nothing is shrunken. Nothing yet.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe just he has very, very fine hair follicles.
Well, because that could be interpreted as shrinking.
Yeah, but if my hair shrinks, my head don't shrink. My head is big. My head's really big, Frank.
So then, like... at the very end, like there's so many things going back and forth.
Yeah, how did he actually get it?
It's less of a cohesive plot and more of just like a walk through this guy's average life with these pranks happening.
Everything's centered around his head.
Mm-hmm. And so then at the very, very, very end, he's in the library and he finds an old dusty book that doesn't have a Dewey Decimal like sticker on it, like from the library.
Uh-huh.
And he opens it, and then the book it flashes green, and he has a tiny head.
So that's good. I was also gonna suggest maybe it's a metaphor, and he becomes somehow he wins some sort of like minor contest, but gets a huge ego about it, and he gets a big head, as they say, and then he learns through the book to not be a douche, and then they call it. His head is shrunk.
Shrinking.
Or maybe he just goes to a psychiatrist. They also call that a head shrinker.
I think that his head is physically shrunk, and then to learn to emotionally cope, he visits a psychiatrist.
Yeah, and they shrink his head even further. But
And then when
Metaphorically
he's
so.
well, I don't know. Oh, I see what you mean now. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, what do you got for me?
It's good. Let's see. All right, here we go. Piano lessons can be murder.
Yeah, I mean, so that's exactly what it sounds like. Sometimes when you take piano lessons, it is just so boring, and it feels like you're being murdered.
And then the piano strings strangle. They come off the piano.
Yeah, and then the keys become teeth, and then they actually murder you.
But the reason why the piano's doing the murders is because no one has ever used it to play like a beautiful piece before, and it's angry.
Yeah.
So then at the very end, the kid who's been practicing for like a long time, and then he goes up and he plays like a really good thing.
So you practice on a separate piano
on
before
other
the murder
pianos.
piano.
Yeah, or like a keyboard maybe.
So everybody who's been trying to play the murder piano,
it's always like kids that are like bad and going to give up soon.
Do they just not know that it's a murder piano when they go to play it?
I think that it happens over the course of it murders them, and then like the family sells the piano, and it's at like a Goodwill, and then some other family buys the piano, and then it murders someone else.
I thought maybe it was like a murderous piano teacher, but this is probably good. The piano, and it doesn't actually murder them on the spot. What happens is, they play it, they do a bad job.
Like if you play bad.
They play bad, and then they leave, and then on their way home, a piano gets dropped on them.
I kind of like the piano strings coming off and doing like its tentacles.
Yeah, but I don't want the piano teachers to be complicit in this, and also I feel like everyone would see that happening.
No, I don't think it's like live. Like I think like they're like in their bed at night.
Oh, and piano strings,
and then like piano wire comes out from under the bed.
Yeah, no, that's good. There's a lot of different piano related deaths. Sometimes it's piano wire. Sometimes it's piano on the head. Sometimes it's like
sometimes they drop their yo-yo in the back of the piano, and then they reach in and the lid slams down on their head.
Yep. Sometimes
like a lot, like over and over and over.
Sometimes the piano like transforms into it was a transformer.
Like a wooden transformer.
Yeah, and its name is
and it just punches them to death.
And he's like, time to tickle the ivory.
It gives him a muddle stomp.
Yeah. Okay, I've got one. The Beast from the East, and I actually have an idea for this already. The Beast from the East is a professional wrestler.
Okay.
And he is probably a heel, if they're going to call him the Beast from the East.
Oh, so he gets more and more character as a heel, right? He gets more and more in character, but then he finds that he starts to actually become the beast from the East.
And the East isn't
it's like there's a Teen Wolf thing where he like is covered in like fur and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then he but then one time when it's like where it goes too far and like he realizes he's like becoming the character is when he's in like a wrestling match or whatever, and he's going to give like a suplex or something, right? Mm-hmm. And like it's all like choreographed, so like he doesn't hurt anybody. Mm-hmm. But then he like breaks the dude's arm because he like wants to kill him.
Yeah.
And he's like, what's happening to me?
And when we say East, it's just like New Jersey.
Yeah, like the east of where you are.
Yeah. Now the actual synopsis of this is more ridiculous than it sounds. Actually more like something we would have already done.
This is the canonical.
Canonically, Ginger Wald, a former nature camp survivor, and her twin brothers Nat and Pat end up in the woods where beaver/bear-like monsters challenge them to a dangerous game of tag. Oh. They just have to play tag with beaver bears. Beaver bears kind of sound great. So maybe the Beast from the East's wrestling persona is a beaver bear?
Yeah. I mean, like a strong, stabilizing tail if it's bear-sized.
Yeah. Oh, that's very good. All right, what do you got?
So he realizes he's becoming the Beast, and I think... Well, so I guess
is this like a Teen Wolf?
One of the things we've sort of been forgetting is that all Goosebumps books like end badly.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, like they always like it's a horror. Like the kids don't make it out like a lot. Like they always lose.
It's always like the kid ends up becoming a beast from the East.
Yeah, or like they like. And so I think at the end of this one, the guy he thinks he like has control of the beast or whatever, and then he like sees like a raw steak. Mm-hmm. And then he just turns to a monster and runs in the woods.
Yeah, that checks out.
Okay, here we go. It came from beneath the sink.
Okay. So we're talking about Ghost Plumber.
Ghost Plumber. Does he want to fix pipes?
Yeah, he's always fixing the pipes. Like, there's nothing malicious about him. He's just kind of spooky, and then it turns out he was just fixing the pipes. But then it turns out the boy was a ghost plumber all along, and he's actually
fixing. I think. What if he's fixing the spirit world pipes?
Oh,
and the pipes are letting evil out, and he keeps trying to fix them.
Yeah, or
right.
What if it's
but then
like,
the kids banish the plumber because he's the visible ghost,
and then more.
But then the
evil.
Spirit pipes are open, and it lets the evil out.
That's good. Or I was gonna say, what if it's like a kid keeps seeing this ghost plumber, and then it turns out there's a family secret, and that is at age 13. Boys and girls in this family become ghost plumbers, and he's starting to change. And he's
like he hears the pipes calling to him.
Yeah, and so everybody's talking about the ghost plumber they see, and he even sees it sometimes. They're like, "Oh no, that's actually just you. You're the ghost plumber." And he's like, "Oh,
are we getting like fifth dimensional? Like he literally is the ghost plumber?
Yeah, he's the ghost plumber. Like maybe
he sees himself as a ghost in the future, in the past,
or maybe he's just seeing his dad's ghost plumber persona, and then he learns that like, oh, we're actually all ghost plumbers, and this is going to happen to you someday. And then it does happen to him, but he's actually, but then he's actually a ghost electrician.
Oh,
a little bit of a twist there,
and that causes a lot of family conflict.
That causes a lot of family conflict because as everyone knows, plumbers and electricians are mortal enemies. Yeah.
Something to think on.
Something to think on next time you call a plumber an electrician. All right. I've got one that I want to save for later. How about... Man, some of these titles are just... He's really phoning them in.
All right. Say cheese and die.
Okay. I was going to... Yeah. Say cheese and die is about...
All right. So... The obvious first route that I kind of want to avoid is camera that steals souls, right?
Yeah, no, I think what it is a Victorian era photographer. And in that era, in all
they
the
need
photos,
like phosphorus flash pans or
yeah, and you had to sit still for like 10 minutes and nobody ever smiled because it's hard to maintain a smile.
The daguerreotype had to sink in or whatever the hell.
And this is actually a true thing. There's actually I read this article. There's actually people back in the day used to take goofy photos, and there's a ton of like really funny photos from that era. So maybe it's just a photographer who's like a hipster for his time, and he takes photography oh so seriously. And if you smile, so help me God.
He's coming for you in the night.
So help me God, Reginald. If you smile, I will kill you.
All right. So yeah. So this is the say cheese killer. Then this is like a serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a person who, okay, yeah. There's a family getting their portrait done, right? Mm-hmm. And the little boy, he laughs at something he sees like behind the photographer, but the photographer thinks he's laughing for the picture.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh my God!"
And he says like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna get you." He like hunkers down, like he's like, "Oh, come over here and then pick up your stuff," and then he like taps the boy on the shoulder, so he like stays a little bit behind, and he like hunkers down and like puts his hands on his knees and is like, "I'm gonna fucking murder you."
Hey, little boy. Hey. No, for real. I'm not dicking around here.
And then kid. I think what I like is if, so the whole movie then is the little boy, he hasn't told his family, and he's like freaking out and like becoming increasingly paranoid and refusing to go outside and play, and like becomes like increasingly like less mentally well. And then finally, it's been so long that he convinces himself it's not going to happen and like relaxes. Then he gets murdered.
Yep. He's like 45 and he gets murdered.
Yeah, then he gets murdered. Because you have to remember, these stories never end good.
Yeah. Maybe we explain, maybe it's also like a alternate history version of how people started say cheese. They used to say, what's another word that might make your face do that? Squeeze? Say peas?
Say glad.
No, it's got to be a thing that makes their face do the smile. All right, I've got another one. Deep Trouble. What can you do with Deep Trouble, Frank? Some of these titles, Mr. Dr. Stein really just phoned it in.
Deep Trouble. So we're talking aquatic.
Oh, how did you know?
Well, because it's deep.
Yeah, I thought it would just be like, oh, Billy, you cheated on the test. You are grounded. You are in deep trouble. Yeah, so give me some aquatic-themed trouble.
All right, so here's some good.
Good.
So kids are at like summer camp, right? And there's the lake. and they're going out in the lake at night, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. And so like one of like it's like a group of kids like go swimming out in the lake and they like sneak behind the counselors and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the kids goes under and they like everyone's like freaking out and like they think he's drowning and like what the hell? Kid comes back up and he seems fine. That's the thing. He seems fine.
Mm-hmm. But
he acts strangely.
Mm-hmm.
And
is he possessed by a water Jeffrey?
I'm not sure as much possessed as replaced. He is a creature now, so he is a think like a golem or something like that. He is like an aquatic creature in the shape of this boy.
Mm-hmm.
So then and like it's all acting like weird and stuff.
Yeah, he's like
there's just like general creepiness.
He's like this is I enjoy lunchtime this is what I'm a child
and it's
too.
Like wrong.
Yeah.
So then what happens is they're like dredging the lake, right? And they find a skeleton of like a person. Because you just dredge the lake like every day. You gotta
dredge the lake. When you are a children's summer camp, it's a fact of running a summer camp. It's just one of the byline items, dredging the lake every week.
Yeah. So then they found like a skeleton, right? And they're like, oh my god, like if that's Kevin's skeleton,
he decayed very quickly.
Who have we been hanging out with for 2 weeks?
Yeah, the skeleton has to be wearing like Kevin's "Hello, I'm Kevin" name tag or something.
Yeah. Like it has his like camp dog tags.
Yeah, like when he goes under and comes back up, they're like, "Where'd your dog tags go?" He's like, I guess I lost them down there. The dog tags that I was definitely
I'm just
wearing.
glad that I'm alive.
Yeah.
So then there's a whole thing where they try to get him to like reveal or whatever that he's like the monster, right? And they like trick him, and then he like runs to the lake and they chase him out to the lake and he like runs in the lake and like disappears.
Mm-hmm. I like that this is a camp of incredibly suspicious children and also dumb children because he says, I lost my tags, and then they see a skeleton with his tags on them and they're like, that must be Kevin's skeleton, instead of Kevin's tags fell onto a dead skeleton that's been under the lake.
Like it doesn't. So then they chase and
and also they're Kevin, right. Is the thing.
Water Kevin dissolves, right?
Oh, water
and they
Kevin.
think they won, maybe not won, but all right, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's 1 week later, and it's been a month for the camp, and all the parents are picking their kids up, and there's Kevin getting picked up by his parents, and he looks back at the kids and he winks, and then boom, what's gonna happen?
I'm the boy. Okay, yeah, that's a good one. All right, what do you got?
All right, let's see. All right, here's one. This could even be a sequel. I Live in the Basement.
Oh, yeah. And this is about the carbon monoxide creature that lives in the basement of Dead House.
Yeah, it actually feeds on oxygen and puts out carbon monoxide.
Yeah, so it's not actually their bad furnace, it's their bad. And he doesn't want to kill. He's just trying to get by. And Dead House is
actually when children run down and start getting poisoned, he go back upstairs.
Yeah. So he does appear to them. He's like, "Hey, if you stay down here, you're gonna die. Please don't."
But then they see him and they're freaking out because their minds are being poisoned, and
maybe what happens
he eats
is
rats probably too, right?
So every time, yeah, of course he eats rats. Natch. Every time he goes, kids go down there, right? They hallucinate and go crazy, but then they also eventually pass out from carbon monoxide poisoning, and then
he puts them upstairs on the stoop.
Exactly. They always just wake up back upstairs, and then it turns out that it was Jeremy,
and then the house burns down.
Because it's a dead house.
Because it's a dead house.
Yeah. Okay. My hairiest adventure.
There's ways to go with that.
Yeah. Now, puberty,
but also
certainly my hairiest adventure.
All right. Okay, my hairiest adventure. So. I kind of the kid's going through puberty, but what he doesn't know is that not 100% of the things happening to him are puberty, because he's also going through monster puberty.
He's also going through Sasquatch puberty, yeah.
Yes!
Yeah,
so it's like you're gonna have armpit hair,
and he's like, yeah, and they're like, hair in places you didn't used to have hair, and he's like, yeah, but it's like
And he says, like under my toenails.
Oh,
and they're
God.
like, what?
Oh, my toenails feel gross now. Oh, that seems like the most uncomfortable feeling
And he
in the
says,
world.
like, and what
so
about the
right
thick,
now.
what about the thick leathery skin on my elbows?
Oh, I hate you so much right now for the toenail thing. I cannot stop imagining it. I'm like,
and he says, like, what about my
fists with my
powerful,
toes.
what about my powerful desire to eat leaves, Dad? And they're like, what?
Yeah.
I think at the end, too, he finds other Sasquatches and just, like, runs off into the woods.
And they start noticing, like, every time they try to take a picture of him for, like, family photos and stuff, he's like, even though he's standing still, every time the picture comes out, he's, like, weirdly blurry and out of focus.
Yeah. I like that. And then he runs off to be with his own people and gets shot by a hunter.
Oh. Yeah, because everything has to end sad.
Everything has to end bad.
Okay. Do you got one?
Oh, boy. Don't go to sleep.
Okay.
Don't go to sleep.
Don't go to sleep. That is about someone who...
Monster that lives in nightmares?
No, I think Nightmare's too easy. I think that's... I mean, that we could just do Freddy Krueger, you know? What I think it is.
Yeah.
Pulled an all-nighter for the big test, and if you fall asleep during the test, you'll fail the test.
What if it's like... Okay. Every time this boy wakes up from being asleep, he sees like things like watching him from the shadows, right?
Oh. How does he see them if his eyes are closed?
While he's awake, he never sees them while he's awake, only right when he wakes up. So he stops sleeping.
So he stops sleeping because he doesn't mind going to sleep. He hates waking up.
He hates waking up.
So he tries to go to sleep and then stay asleep forever?
Yeah, and I think at first he tries a few things where it's like, he sleeps at his friend's house, and like, no, he still sees them. Mm-hmm. He like sleeps, like, he like rolls out a sleeping bag under his bed, and no, he still sees them.
Yeah, he goes to a head shrinker, still sees them.
Yeah, and the psychological kind, not the real kind. Mm-hmm. And so these things are just like haunting his waking upness.
His waking instant. And this is different than that terrifying sounding syndrome where people wake up but their brain still has the they're like still asleep.
Sleep paralysis. Yeah,
sleep paralysis where your paralysis
Terrifying.
chemicals are still going but you're awake.
And so like something happens. What happens? So he refuses to sleep, and it begins to obviously affect his life like in a pretty harsh way. So then I think he has like a mental breakdown. He has like a nervous breakdown, right, about not sleeping. So he wakes up in a mental institution. He wakes up in a mental institution and sees the things.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Every time, so he started seeing them when he turned like 16 or whatever, right?
Uh-huh.
So every single time he wakes up, he didn't notice it at first, but over
closer.
a period of time, they're a little bit closer. Not a ton closer, because he would see them for days in a row, right? Mm-hmm. But so now he wakes up in this mental hospital and sees them, and they're like a lot closer now, and he just becomes more and more unhinged, and they start like medicating him, and like that's it, like cut to black.
Oh, we don't even get to find out what the things
like we don't know what happens when they get to him, but they're getting to him.
Ooh, that one's spooky.
Yeah.
All right, I got this one. So this is 1996, near the end. Legend of the Lost Legend. Just, really phoning it in there, RL.
All right, so
it's a legend about a legend. It's not even like a good legend. It's just like, hey kids, there used to be a legend and nobody remembers it. And they're like, what's
do
a
you know
legend?
like the Voynich Manuscript?
Yeah.
Okay, so
actually I don't. What is that?
So it's a book from a very long time ago.
Oh, wait.
I actually forget what the
I think I do know this. Didn't we recently just translate it or something?
Or like pieces of it. It was a book that was written in like a cipher or code that like nobody has figured out yet.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so along those lines, what if there's like a kid finds like a diary that's written in code, right? Mm-hmm. But the legend is lost of how to read it. Yeah, that kind of legend.
Yeah, but I guess
like a map legend.
The problem is, like a key.
Yeah. So then I think there's a whole thing. He goes on like an adventure, right? And he finds it, and when he starts reading it, it's like, if you are reading this, it's already too late. It's got you.
Jumanji. I don't know why I thought of Jumanji.
I mean, yeah, maybe, but it doesn't. But bad.
Yeah. Okay. And then it gets him, and then that's it.
And then it gets him.
Okay.
Let's do, I think, one more each.
Okay, I've got mine.
All right.
Do you want, or I guess you should go because I just did one.
Okay, we'll do that. All right, the Abominable Snowman of Pasadena.
Oh.
So this is a Los Angeles Yeti.
Where's Pasadena? Is that in Texas?
It's in Southern California.
Oh, I don't know anything about states. Okay, so he's a snowman living in California, and he's like...
Well, he's either a snowman or like a
bumble.
Because like a quote abominable snowman is more like a Yeti, right?
Yeah. I think he's a snowman who commits abominable deeds.
So like just like a slightly supernatural hitman.
I think it's more abominable. Well, yeah, I guess what makes a deed abominable? I thought maybe he was just foul.
I was going for like murder.
You were going for like murder. I mean, we got that movie coming out about the snowman killer guy.
Yeah. Although that's water snowmen, not Yetis.
Yeah, I'm still thinking this could be a water snowman in California.
A water snowman.
A snow
So
snowman.
there is a snowman killer, much like the movie The Snowman Killer, but he kills people for money and not from like twisted psychological desire.
Yeah, or I was thinking maybe it was just like like a Ted situation. There's just like a snowman living in California, like it's a thing, and he's fine, and everyone, but he's like just a foul person, and nobody likes to be around him.
Oh, he's like mean.
Yeah, and
because he's abominable.
Yeah, and they're like, what an abominable snowman.
And then I think it's just like he's like mean to people and stuff, and then like someone lights him on fire and he dies.
Yeah, and I think we could follow up with Beware the Snowman, which is not my suggestion, just another title I saw that exists.
Yeah, because winter comes and he reconstitutes from the water.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm going to get you. Mm-hmm. The guy who got me.
Yep. Okay, here's mine. Calling all creeps.
Whew.
Just like creepy dudes and ladies.
Yeah, some kind of bat signal for like very unwanted people.
Yeah, like I don't. Is it like all the nice guys of the internet start like coming out into the real world, and we have to fight them and make them not be that way?
Or like something is killing them with like a femme fatale situation, maybe.
Yeah, I don't necessarily want to. So if we're gonna make them the victims, I don't want to make them the good guys necessarily, unless we're going to reform their creepiness. But just like slick down hair, dirty mustache, or like just like creepy dudes. They could even just look regular. They're just like weird dudes.
Yeah.
Just like weird dudes. Maybe it's just someone who calls creeps on the phone and like, hey, what's going on?
Catfishes them?
Not even catfishes them. Just like, hey, but like,
says like, I don't like you.
Not even that. Just like, just reaching out, like, hey, what's up? Why are you being this way? And just really, really confront,
like a sort of like reverse help hotline where they call you and say like, we think you need help.
I think they just call them and they help them just really confront their issues that cause them to mistreat people.
Help me out with where the horror is coming from. Yeah,
they're creeps. I don't know. I just thought it'd be funny if we just twisted it completely to the.
So the ultimate. Okay, so this is the ultimate plot twist, which is that this movie's not a horror movie.
Yeah, it's just like somebody's like, "Hey, what if we just really got to the bottom of your
whole situation,
and really just helped you confront that this is not an appropriate way to
Maybe
treat
don't wear
people.
those anime shirts.
Yeah,
anymore.
Or it's okay.
Maybe they're
if
just bedtime shirts.
It's okay if you're gonna wear them. Just don't be a creep, dude. Like,
yeah,
like I'm not gonna tell you how to dress as long as just don't be a creep.
Like this, like I'm actually sending you a package that has like deodorant and like shampoo.
Yeah, and also like a book,
and then you can buy your own once it runs out.
And it's also just like here's how to like talk to people and like
This is more like a smarmy like faux inspirational self-help movie.
Yeah, let's really unpack these childhood issues that caused you to
do this,
treat other people like this.
Others.
Let's get some self-awareness, my dude. And then, that's that.
And they get them like deodorant and like Accutane.
Yeah, and then once they become like
people, they kill them.
Yeah, they kill them.
Yeah, they kill them.
Yeah, they die. They're just
They
dead.
feed. They're a beast that specifically feeds on
Creepiness.
people who have emotionally recovered from trauma.
Or they're beasts that
Not people that have experienced trauma, but people that have fully emotionally recovered and are in a good place now.
Yeah.
But who in the past were bad.
Maybe
that.
Yeah.
That puts marbling on the stake of their heart. And then they just go to town.
And then they're just dead. Yeah, that's pretty good. Man, there's so many Goosebumps books. That dude was writing 5 a month for 5 years. And then he stopped. And a lot of these felt pretty phoned in. There's one called Chicken Chicken.
2 chickens, and they kill people, and then people kill the chickens back, but they don't die, and then they die.
Chicken, comma, chicken. The
Boom, we squeaked one last one in.
Yeah. The cover art is a giant chicken with a young girl's head. Ooh, these covers. All right, well, that's going to do it for us on this very special spooky Halloween episode. I knew we said we weren't going to do anything spooky for this month, but we got you. Don't listen to this at night. You'll probably not be able to sleep.
Oh, we don't recommend it. We should have said that up front.
We should have said it up front. So if you did listen to this at night,
we're sorry.
Sorry.
Also, this probably isn't going to come out until nighttime anyway, so...
Yeah, I mean, I'll do my best to get it up early-ish on Halloween. And yeah, well, thank you everybody for listening to Rebootleggers. Coming at you live from the mailroom, still working our way back up. As always, please, if you like the show, give us a rating and review on iTunes. It really, really helps us out. And just tell a friend. If you like the show and you know somebody who you think also might like it, please spread the word. That would really help us out. Until next time, I'm Scott Owen.
And I'm Frank Serra.
And Frank, what's our password for next week?
I think for next week it's going to be...
Ooh.